How's it going, everybody? I'm just here with MtPain, and we are going to get into some TNT Bloodlands fragging.
This is my first time playing this mod, but I'm excited to kill Doomkid a lot in it. I'm hyped. Actually, if you'll permit me just one second. Don't. Oh, okay. You can have this one, but I got to change my. I just realized I haven't even changed my name. New version of Xandronum and all. I'm not with it.
Oh yeah, right.
MtPain.
You're green and you're player. That's not right.
Yeah, I know. It's way too generic.
It's supposed to be red and MtPain.
Yeah. And I guess. Ooh, I can change the base skin. I'm gonna do that. Oh, I gotta get my super shotgunner. Yes. Holding a super shotgun and.
Yes.
All right.
Now both of our sprites have super shotguns out too, so it's more accurate for deathmatch.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. I'll spot you the first 80 points. Ah!
Oh,
don't
man.
need it.
2-0 on the off the bat.
Don't need it. What the hell? I'm pressing spacebar and I'm not respawning.
Oh, is that your open doors button?
I got a click. That's weird. I mean, oh, maybe it's E. Maybe it's.
What is it?
It's. I mean, I got default controls because I just. Yeah, it's probably E. I'll try that next time.
Oh my god, my connection just got turned into rubbish. Let me.
I'm jittering a little bit myself, but yours is probably going to be worse than mine since it's Xandronum.
I don't get it. I thought it was because I was recording, but now I'm not, and it's still just like, oh my god.
Recording definitely does that a little bit. Oh. Yes, it's E.
My plasma rifle feels more like a plasma shotgun.
Well, I'm seeing a stream of bullets, so I guess I have a slightly better connection than you.
Okay.
And I will take full advantage of that.
I've got full slideshow going.
Yeah, you're probably seeing
basically what you had on BF Thud.
I was say, I'm getting I'm getting slightly better. Yeah, I'm much better than I was on BF Thud, but I think our fans are gonna be thinking that both of us are full of shit. Just making excuses because it's off screen, yeah. You know. Oh.
You and I, at least we, the two of us who are actually fighting, know the truth.
Yes, we do know the truth.
Anyway, it's not like it's there's no, no one gives a shit who wins anyway.
In the words of Lou Reed, don't believe what you hear, don't believe what you see.
Exactly.
Oh. How do you get the you've got green wings over your character's head. How do you get your wings?
Oh, you must have you got a fresh copy of Xandronum, so you must have medals enabled.
Oh,
I turn all that crap off. Like I turn the announcer off. I turn all.
I did turn
all the not vanilla stuff off.
Yeah, I definitely turned the announcer off. BFG spam, and not a single one of those hit. Pretty embarrassing.
Lucky me.
I'm better with the super shotgun anyway.
It's so hard to track you when your position updates once every second. It's like so tough.
Now you know my pain. This was like
yeah, it did. It looks the clip that you sent me showing your gameplay. It looks identical to what mine is. Really.
Just shoot where I'm not, and then you'll hit where I am.
I have better chances of hitting that way.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, I can see you plain as day. That one was just pure skill, though.
Oh my god.
Domination. There we go. Also, I'd be surprised if you haven't played. Go ahead.
I might do a really quick attempt to like swap my internet because everything was okay and then it became unplayably like ridiculous.
No, you should. You should. We're in no rush here, or at least I'm not.
Yeah, cool. Plus, we can cut out the like.
Yeah. I will take care of that.
How's the style of this WAD treating you? It's very classic, good.
Yeah, I like it. It's
good layout, good arena.
I do like the arena actually. It's certainly 90s, but I don't know. It's clean. If that makes any sense. It's not like it's not too TNT experimental. I was expecting a little bit more chunkiness.
No. It would be pretty good for a. I could see a competitive duel happening here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this one isn't very competitive.
No, God, no.
You're too nice, man. I'm throwing blatant shade at you. It's totally undeserved. You're a better deathmatch player than I am, and I'm getting the benefit of much better internet at the moment.
Well, we did we ever do a deathmatch session on Z? Oh my God, there's some construction going on outside. It's loud as fuck.
I heard
it
that.
Scared the shit out of me just then.
It sounded like it was in my backyard. It was in your backyard.
Dude, it was. I'm sorry, it's so loud.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, something I don't know.
Nice segue.
Yeah, I know. Let's see.
Oh, I'm getting.
Where are you?
Getting some jitters.
What was that? You getting some jitters too?
Yeah, jitters is not bad though, because this is mostly like way better than our other session was. The occasional jitter is fine.
Right. It's so weird that for me, like one port behaves exactly as the other one does for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really don't understand that.
Like we can't, because for me, when we were playing Z-Damon the other day on BF Thud, it was like pretty smooth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And now this is pretty smooth for you.
Exactly.
We traded slideshow. It's so irritating. It's reality is just trying to. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, nothing. I'm just trying to weigh in on. Could it have something to do with the server location? Maybe.
I mean, one was California, and I think this one is East Coast. But like,
well, that would give me a.
You know what? I have a feeling. It would, but it still would. Like, I have a feeling maybe if we tried Otomex, it would work for both of us. Have you ever tried that port before?
Oh yeah, dude. We played Otomex on Memento Mori. Don't you remember? That worked great.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We should totally do it.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Do you mind if we take a moment here and try to attempt this on Otomex instead?
I would be glad to. You want to just quit here?
Yeah, let's just cut it here for now, and then we'll come back to it.
Absolutely, that's fine. So, perfectly natural transition. Doomkid, you had we had a couple of topics we wanted to discuss today to make this more of a podcast and less of a ramble fest.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about how playing certain WADs at the beginning of your Dooming career can shape how you perceive all subsequent WADs you play, and also how in the middle of your Dooming career you sometimes encounter really great WADs that kind of shake up your whole perception of what makes a great WAD. So, would you like to lead off with some of the early WADs you played that really, shaped your personality as a mapper and player?
Sure. Okay, so a lot of people might know this, but my earliest WADs were a mega WAD I found. So, like, I was so young, my dad literally helped me, like, go online and find this WAD. And it was called Doomed to Die. It was like a shovelware-ish WAD, but, like, for shovelware, it was actually not too bad, like all the maps were pretty competent. Very classically, mostly in line with like Doom 1. Lots of stuff that you'd expect. And then there was Doom City, which we all know, which had all the custom resources. And that really inspired me, like, wow, custom music and textures to feel like a real place. And then I got Area 51, which had a nice sense of purpose. And from there, I got a bunch of different stuff like Simpsons Doom and all this. The end result of all this is that I ended up loving old school 90s feeling things, but with a lot of custom content as well. So that was really, and I think that's reflected in like the vast majority of what I've made. So yeah, that's the big impact my early WADs had on me. I'm very curious to hear you talk about your early WADs and the impact they had on you.
For sure. Well, first let me just say that it's absolutely apparent you describe how you have a love of the 90s stuff, somewhat, your WADs pine for a simpler time, but they also have tons of custom elements in them. I was just replaying a map from Rowdy Rudy 2 today, actually, and I was thinking, man, it's remarkable how retro Doomkid's preferences are, and yet how kind of in the moment and modern his gameplay changes are. So it's a pretty rad fusion, I gotta say. So I have also told this story before, but the WAD that I grew up with, the iWAD that I grew up with, was TNT Evolution, TNT.WAD, which most people had Ultimate Doom, Doom.WAD, or Doom 2. But for whatever reason, my dad thought that Final Doom was Doom and bought that at the store in 96 or 97. Played that pretty frequently when I was really young. Like, I saw him play a lot of Doom from like my age 5 to age 8. He wouldn't let me play it until I was 13, I believe was the rule, because it was violent and stuff. Although violence against monsters wasn't so bad compared to violence against people and things like that. There was never any Grand Theft Auto in the house, for example. But anyway, TNT... In retrospect, it's actually pretty impressive that young me was able to get through a lot of those early maps. Like map 2, for God's sake, there's no health in that map. It's a brutal hit scanner fest with pain elementals and all that. Now, I was playing on Hurt Me Plenty, so I was spared some of the savagery of ultraviolence. But
you never played like just walk. You didn't play with IDDQD as a kid?
I didn't know the cheats until I looked them up online when I was a little bit older, and even then, it felt like cheating. Like, I didn't really see a point in playing the game as a power fantasy. I actually wanted to beat the levels. Now, I would not go for 100% kills, because there was no kill counter. When I exited a map, I was just content to exit, and I didn't even know what secrets were. I think Doom 95, which is the port I played on, didn't even have... there was no alert when you picked up secrets or when you found secrets. So,
nothing like that.
Ironically, TNT nerds in the audience will know there's an auto map in map 5 of TNT that's like in the stairs, and it's really hard to get because you press a switch and the stair lowers. And I was a keyboard player, and holy crap, was it hard to aim your player the proper way. Make a sprint for that little cubby and pick up the auto map. And I always thought, that's got to be a secret. But ironically, there's 3 secrets in that map, and that's not one of them. So,
no,
it's really weird, and that's TNT in a nutshell for you. But anyway, so TNT was my iWAD, and then later I played Doom 2. Was I think the next one? Oh, nice, well played.
That barely counts. I guess it was really a draw. Anyway.
Yeah, it was, because I think I was up 3, and now you're up 3, so same thing. It took me a long time to circle around to playing PWADs. After I caught up by playing Doom 2. Oh, I played Plutonia after TNT. That was always like my albatross. I was like, my dad never got past map 2. Exactly where Civvy says this is where Plutonia will turn casual players away. That is where my dad turned away. He was like, what is going on with the Cacodemon Valley, with the Revenants and such? That was horrible. I got to map 9.
Wait, which one? It's you're a little bit robotic on my end. I can mostly hear what you're saying, but it's a little... So can you just mind repeating that last bit there?
Sure.
About O'Malley and the Revenants?
Oh, no, the valley. The Revenant Valley with the Cacodemons. In Well of Souls, where you go out there, and it's the Indiana Jones bridge.
Right.
So yeah, that part, my dad ran out of ammo and was non-berserk punching pinkies and didn't know how to exit, and it was just a nightmare for him, so he quit. And then I was like, I'm the king of Doom in the house, because I got to map 9 before I had to quit. I could not, I think I beat map 9 after, dozens and dozens of attempts. Of course, the that circle of death at the end, where if you fall in the pit, you die. That was just horrible for a keyboard player, keyboard-only player.
Oh God!
With the default controls, so every time I strafed, I had to hold the Alt key, and firing with the control. It was just a nightmare, and I will never go back to that. Props
the original controls were not very good.
Yeah, props to BFG or Beef G for playing keyboard only.
Look, keyboard only is hard enough, but he plays a modern keyboard only layout, which I wouldn't like it as much, but I could definitely play like that.
I guess Viper Killer does the same thing. Viper Killer plays keyboard only with a custom control setup.
They basically just use the arrow keys to replace what we use the mouse as. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Which I still can't really imagine doing. Oh. Lost connection. Can you still hear me? I'll take that as a no.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Man, it is only giving me, like, it's only drip feeding me your voice.
Oh, boy. How about now? Can you hear me
So
now?
funny, now that the Doom... Yeah, I can hear you now. Now that the Doom is smooth and fine, the actual voice chat starts...
Well, my Doom is not super smooth. I'm kind of... It's lag city over here. Okay, so I'm going to try to rush to the point where I found PWADs. The first PWAD I ever downloaded was Sigil. Or was it? I think it was Sigil. It was either Sigil or Ev Eternity, one of the two. And I downloaded Ev Eternity because I was watching Decino play it. I was not enthused at first. I was like, yeah, the only real Doom is Doom 2, TNT, etc. But my mind slowly changed when it was Alien Vendetta, and the prospect of exploring something new. I found that Doom World's Top 100 WADs, which I reference so often that it's become a meme at this point. But
Right.
I was so curious to play all of those, and I was like, where does one acquire all these WADs? And, you know, Alien Vendetta being at the top of the list made it the subject of much fascination for me. So I downloaded Alien Vendetta a little bit after. I think that was the third WAD I downloaded. And it was so hard. I don't think I didn't beat it. Go ahead.
It was,
Damn it.
So when after you played just Sigil, did you have the thought of like, only the IWADs are real?
No.
Or had you played Ev Eternity as well when you thought that?
No, Ev Eternity and Sigil, both of them were equally mind-blowing, because it was, like, Sigil felt like the official 5th episode of Ultimate Doom, which I had grown to really like at the time.
Right.
Ev Eternity, though, was like a whole different beast. It was, you know, all the additions and the new monsters and gameplay changes, and the music was one of the things that really captured my heart, if you will, because I wasn't expecting it to be so...
definitely. I mean, it's just so much.
It was so professional and, like, moving and exciting. Yes, even Dehydration. I remember playing that at my brother's apartment. I brought my laptop along with me, and it took me like 3 hours, but I don't know, it felt like an epic quest, and it was something I just never thought that playing Doom like that was possible. So, and obviously, you know, I think I'm still to this day quite biased in favor of Eternity. I don't think... Oh, BFG. And that's it. Somebody knows the secrets. Anyway,
Because it's funny, because of the audio cutting out, I didn't hear... I only kind of heard what you had said a few minutes ago, and I thought you said you played Sigil and Ev Eternity and thought, whatever, you know, it's not the real stuff. Because the audio kept cutting out, and I was going to be like, man, I figured that you played Ev Eternity and would have fallen in love with it, and so it makes more sense now that I've actually been able to hear you say it.
oh yeah, no, Ev Eternity blew my mind, and Sigil was like a... I don't think it was as hard as people said, because even just playing the IWADs before that, I had a tough time, but I don't know, I was able to hack it.
Yeah.
And I was nowhere near the player I am today in terms of familiarity and just like Doom tropes and stuff like that. I'm just more literate with all that. Gotcha.
Right, of course. As you will be after all, you know, only playing IWADs, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, Alien Vendetta was a turning point. Now that being said, after Misery Halek, the WAD kicked my ass. Like, map 20, I was not pistol starting. I was playing continuous, and I was completely flattened by map 27. I actually managed to beat Dark Dome and Demonic Hordes. I don't know how. They were way above my skill level at the time. This was 2019, I believe, or early 2020.
Right.
And I don't know. I eventually did. I went back to it and I had to return to it and crack it open again. But did I just telefrag you? I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
How weird. I'm getting my ass kicked,
I
but
think that was strange.
Anyway, so the fourth WOD I downloaded was Hell Revealed 2, which was a huge mistake, and the only reason I downloaded that was because Decino played it, and I was like, well, it's time to play something challenging, and little did I know how challenging it was going to be. That one stopped me in my tracks at map 18, and it was just miserable. Like, getting there was miserable, and I was like, don't know what anybody sees in this, blah, blah, blah. So it was actually... In retrospect, it was actually a good WOD to have downloaded in a way, because it showed me what kind of Doom I don't like. Which is pretty valuable.
Yeah, right.
Especially like because you gotta eventually run into that WOD that's like, wow, that's not my cup of tea, and that's okay because if you like, I mean, it's good to like everything, but you're always gonna like some things less than everything else. So
right.
At the end of the day, I think it's a good thing that I found Hell Revealed 2 because it demonstrated the kind of gameplay that I kind of wanted to avoid if I ever made maps. And the kind of gameplay and WODs that I would want to maybe pass on playing in the future. Good music, though. I still like Hell Revealed 2's music.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. There's actually some great mapping in there, too. It's just it's obfuscated by the shit.
Yes. Perfectly put. Namely, Playground, map 32. I think that's an excellent, phenomenal slaughter map, but you gotta fight through, the first 15 maps and then somehow get through map 31, which is also terrible, to get there. Got a green fella.
Right.
Damn. So anyway, the fifth map I downloaded was TNT Revolution because I thought I got to play the sequel to my my favorite iWOD, and it turned out to be totally different and actually in some ways really frustrating. One of the maps that I gave valedictorian, map 27, was just that stopped me for a while, and I remember thinking like, this is the worst. I hate it. It's so hard and it's so unflinchingly mean and all that. But I grew to appreciate it when I just got a little bit better and a little bit more. I got more ingenuity.
Used to the Doom scene and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Those maps in retrospect, I didn't know they were vanilla. But my God, that still impresses me today, how they managed to make all those by vanilla compatibility. It's stunning. So to wrap up, I think the thing that got me into the Doom scene, possibly more than any other like single recommendation or anything else, was the top 100 WODs list that Doom World made. It's amazing how much just a few entries on that list stuck in my head and made me want to come back to it and revisit it. So I think that's one of the, by far, one of the best documents the Doom community has created. Although I think the best one might be Not Jabba's history of Doom mapping, the novella.
Yeah.
It's absolutely just jaw-dropping. So full of great stuff to play, but also such rich history. I really admire Not Jabba for that.
I love historical Doom content like that. And Not Jabba's a good, a really good writer, the right person for that kind of article. So,
oh yeah.
So that was
a long answer.
I was gonna say, oh no, that's good. I like to hear you talk about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was, what was it? The shovelware. You can learn a bit. I do a lot of like 90s WOD digging for my vanilla WOD pack, which you might have seen before.
Yes, of course.
They, I do a lot of the digging through that stuff, and it's interesting how much you can learn almost just from like looking at text files over the course of like a few months. Like, let's say you get one from like March of 94, you know what I mean? And then you look at one from May of 94, and then one from August, and then one of early 95. And you can even see the culture developing through looking at those kind of things as well.
That's awesome, yeah.
It's really interesting. And like, in 1994 alone, those shovelware discs show like a few different like college campus mirrors and stuff that people uploaded WODs to. And Doom was such a cultural phenomenon when it came out, and those seeing how many maps were made, good or bad or shit or whatever, is just incredible to me. And it's like, I'm thinking about this because you mentioned Not Jabba's history of Doom mapping, so I'm thinking about all the historical stuff too.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, It's really good. It's there's so much there on the and not that's not even to mention Doom is like an unsung hero in the realm of like multiplayer gaming in general
Oh, of course.
because it was such a founding father of multiplayer and like online and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of aspects of Doom's history. I'm glad that there's others out there, and I want to expand on it. I've kind of wanted to do more about the history of Doom and
Oh
the
man,
multiplayer side, and just in general, really, not just multiplayer.
that is a series I would definitely watch. Doomkid delves the history of Doom. Holy crap!
I might do that at some point.
Make that series, man. I'd watch it.
I definitely will. I definitely will. And actually, talking about maps and culture of Doom changing over time and stuff might be a good segue into the segment about how music was only very rarely written for Doom maps back in the day.
Yeah.
It sometimes was. Like
Mark Clem.
there were a few examples, but now it's so much more common. And
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to hear you talk about music and Doom, and I'll talk to too. So yeah.
Of course. Well, of course. I mean, prior to 1997, it was just David Shaw and Mark Clem wrote all of it. It was just those two guys. I mean, not really, but Mark Clem is obviously really well known for Memento Mori's score. But that's like, I think, honestly, if Memento Mori just had a stock soundtrack of like it borrowed from Doom 2, I don't think Memento Mori would be even played today. I think it would have fallen into the crevices.
I some of my friends who I like Memento Mori. Okay, I think it's
Do you now?
It's important historically, but I have to agree that like whenever I think of Memento Mori and my favorite memories of Memento Mori, I think of the maps you and I played in co-op were always my favorite maps, even when I was a little kid. And I think of the music. I literally think of like 4 or 5 maps, let's say, and then the midis, and the rest I just kind of block out. You know what I mean?
Wait, you mean to tell me that Cesspool is not actually a classic? Is not a must play?
Oh well, if you're a sadist, perhaps.
Yeah. Nah, it's got soul. So anyway, music. So actually, I just saw, I think it was on Doom World today. It was on Doom World. Somebody made a post about how Strain was like sold as like bootlegged something or other, packaged with the Sega Genesis Doom or something. And marketed as like its own thing. Yeah, it was a thread that was trending for a little bit. But it was like they packaged Strain with just regular retail Doom, which I thought was very odd. But then it got me thinking, oh man, Strain is such a strange wad. I played like the first half of it roughly, but if you look at some of the tracks.
I don't remember the maps all that clearly from Strain.
Well,
I remember the enemies and weapons like super clear.
Well,
I can bring them to my mind like that.
Exactly.
I can't remember the maps super clear.
Exactly. Strain is basically known for being a dehacked hodgepodge that's like super strange. You got like the super armor that's like 300% armor. You've got the sawed-off gun, like a super shotgun, which actually works really well. You've got those weird stuttery imps. A bunch of like odd changes. Strain is just odd, basically. But
the stuttery imps always freaked me out when I was younger. Because I first saw those when I was like 9, and so I was still kind of, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, they're uncanny as hell. I don't like them. But the music from Strain pops up again and again in odd places. One of Mark Clem's midis, I think it was Land of Ire, showed up in Eternity map 31. It's just one of the best midis ever. There's another one that was in Tangerine Nightmare, and it shows up in, I think, Nova 3 map 20. It's like Gemstones or something. I forget what it's called, but it's just like freakishly good music. Mark Clem's Memento Mori soundtrack was good, but he just got better and better over the next 2 years. It's unbelievable how not only prolific he was, but how many different types of moods he could conjure with just that, that basic MIDI palette.
It's hard for me to quantify, to like even put a score or like a favorite on WAD soundtracks where Mark Clem was heavily involved, because I just like them all so much.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I was doing a, I was trying to compile 100 different MIDI files from Doom wads that make me feel really nostalgic. That would just be a fun video to just
Oh, that's
whack
fun.
up on my channel sometime, I thought.
I love that. I love
And
that idea.
I ended up realizing like 50 of the 100 were written by Mark Clem. You know what I
Wow.
mean? He's a genius,
He
man.
really is. I mean,
I was like, holy crap! So like, huge chunks of Memento Mori 1 and 2, and Gothic Death Matches,
yep.
and Strain, and so many other wads. It's just incredible, really.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
quite amazed by it.
I mean,
Sorry, I just had to rant about that. I had to fanboy about Mark Clem.
no, Mark Clem is a god, especially because he's like, well, I mean, you know, we have Jimmy and Stu Boy, and I mean, those are my go-to when I think of community composers, but there's dozens of others. Alfonso's got some great midis. There's Varus Alpha. There's Mr. Freeze Bucket. I don't want to go. I don't want to ramble too many names because I'm going to miss out on people, and I don't want to do that.
As of your Jamal Jones map, there's you.
I mean, yes, I'm strictly speaking a MIDI composer, but I got to add to that. I've got to make a lot more MIDIs before I get even remotely in the same.
Hey man, the journey of 1,000 midis starts with a single step.
With a single note. You're right.
That's right.
But I also wanted to mention that probably my meter stick when it comes to comparing Doom midis, where yours is Memento Mori, mine is TNT Evolution.
Oh yeah, that's a great one, honestly.
Because Jonathan L. Bisri, Thomas Stain, and L.A. Sieben are basically my yardstick for excellence in composition. I still love the midis. I know they were named by the community, but I love the first one, Sadistic. I love Death Spells. I love More.
They weren't named by the community. The music names all were named by the TNT guys.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I thought I read a thread. I don't know if it was. I feel like it went. I found it a couple.
I remember people being mistaken about it, thinking that it wasn't when it was. I remember something about that.
I thought L.A. Sieben accepted the names that the community gave his tracks, but they were named something else. Because I saw a thread about that. We can talk about that after, but it's not really that important. I'm just.
Oh no, that's. I think people would be interested to hear that. I'm pretty interested to hear that. Okay, I'll have to look into that further. I really thought that.
I feel like
like,
Cammy Banana did that research, or he contacted L.A. Sieben or something like that. Which by the way,
okay, so this is. If Cammy did it since TNT Mini Pack, then his info is more up to date than mine. So go with him.
Yeah. And I think they got.
There was controversy.
What was controversy?
Oh, just about 4 years ago or so on the Doom Wiki. I think it was might not have been me, but someone tried to add the song titles, and then it was like, hey, hang on a minute. Are these real? And then a few other older Doomers were like, yeah, no, I looked into it and they seem real, and so they were accepted. And it seems like there's some if Cammy knows the actual facts of the matter, I'd be curious. Maybe we could link that thread in the description of this video.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I would like to do that because I don't want to believe I'm having a state of cryptomnesia here. I believe that's a real a real thing I read. Anyway, my point is. The TNT music, especially More Into the Beast's Belly, and Death Spells, they're like ingrained in my head. I can play. I could probably MIDI every one of every note in those tracks without listening to it or using anything for a reference.
Dude, I'm the same with all of TNT's music. Because you got to remember, TNT was still one of my first megawads.
Oh, sure.
So I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and there's been so many threads in Doom World years bygone where I was the only one going to bat for TNT, you know what I mean? So I do have quite a bit of the affinity as well.
Well, allow me to join you in that crusade because I love TNT, especially the music. And I think it adds. I know they borrowed some Doom 2 music, which it's funny. I was going to mention that when I played Plutonia first, so I thought all the music in Doom 2. I'm like, oh, that's Plutonia music. It took me probably 7 playthroughs of Doom 2 before I started to associate those tracks with Doom 2 and not Plutonia, because now I played the Plutonia with Plutonia with the MIDI pack, so I don't ever hear Kitchen Ace or any of that shit.
It's funny. Your experience with Doom is different. Like, I feel like mine was pretty damn, for someone who gets pretty into Doom and enjoys WADs and stuff, even if they're not as obsessive as I am. I feel like starting with shareware and then moving to Doom 2 and then from there moving to WADs is a pretty normal trajectory.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Whereas, or rather it was, because I feel like nowadays a lot of people get in through like, a modern YouTube video recommending brutal Doom with this strange fork of GZ Doom that's not even approved by Graph, and that's like all provided in the download. So it's like their first tiptoe to Doom is almost nothing like. Whereas you starting on TNT with Doom 95, I mean, shit, for me, that's like that's close to right at home compared to the way I think a lot of others might be starting with it these days. You know what I mean?
Well, I've heard it said many times. There's no wrong way to get into Doom. I
of course
support that 100%. Although I would recommend,
I definitely agree.
Although I would recommend not continuing to play it on the Switch. If you get into Doom through the Switch, I would recommend not staying on the Switch.
Right, like use that as your weaning into it and then get off of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because I almost am worried. So this might be a good... Is the WAD still downloading on your end too, by the way?
No, I'm in it.
You're in? Okay, I'll be in a moment.
Okay.
But this might be a good transition into another topic. I was worried that if people started with too advanced of a version of Doom, there would be no room in their heart and mind for appreciation of old-style Dooming and 90s WADs and da-da-da-da-da. And
yeah.
I think that is a good sort of segue into, like, how does playing... No, you have a good foundation. You started out with TNT when you were much younger, and you played Sigil and Of Eternity, all stuff that everyone who's into Doom is familiar with. And so I want to ask you about, how does playing great WADs affect your opinion, like, going forward when you play more simplistic WADs after that, and so on and so forth? You know what I mean?
Well, I can start by saying I would heartily discourage people who are trying to...
MtPain, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Doomkid?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. And Doomkid is connected. So...
Yeah, I'm finally in now.
Well, I have a BFG, so... Say your prayers.
So did you hear all that, or did I cut out halfway through?
No, I heard everything you said. So, the first thing I would heartily recommend against people who are trying to recruit new Doom players, I would highly recommend against recommending they play stuff like Sunlust and Ancient Aliens first, because it creates... Oh, it's Ralphus. You still there?
Cool to see him here.
Yeah, he's a veteran.
Yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, and also I agree with what you just said about not recommending them Ancient Aliens and Sunlust first.
Well, especially not Sunlust.
More for difficulty.
Well, yeah, and honestly, that's just so mean. Like, you go right from, even if you like just played Plutonia, and it's like, I'm feeling good about myself, you don't recommend them Sunlust. Like, come on, that's so trollish and kind of hostile, frankly. Like, they're gonna think that that's what the rest of Doom is, whereas most WADs are more accessible on any difficulty than Sunlust is on any difficulty. And like, don't tell them to just turn it down to I'm Too Young to Die. That hurts people's pride, If they want to play it on UV, recommend them the WAD. What did he say? Are you on Wi-Fi?
He said, "Whoa, MtPain, are you on?" Yeah, no, Ralphus sees. Yeah, he sees your packet loss is terrible, even when your ping is low.
It's pretty bad.
So, like, my high ping but like decent packets, and your low ping but high packet loss kind of even out when we're playing Otomex.
How do you fix your packet loss?
That just means, like, even if you're low, like, so a ping is like the distance between you and the server.
Yeah.
Packet loss is like how much of the data stays intact on that trip, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay, so basically it's the crappiness of your router, or relative crappiness or not crappiness of the router.
The router does have a big key in it, but it could actually be like infrastructure of your internet leading to your house as well. And if that's the case, then that sucks because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that might be what it is. I live in bumfuck nowhere, and I can't join, dude. I'm pressing the space bar, it's not doing anything, and I'm pressing E.
Really? It's showing you in the game on my end. I just shot you. That's so weird. It was like an empty shell of you.
It's a zombie.
Yeah.
I'm leaving and coming back.
That always creeped me out. When I was playing multiplayer with my dad and brother on like LAN when we were back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
That would be so fun, by the way.
It was really fun. And I remember whenever we quit and they disconnected and the Marines were just standing there with like gone comatose, that kind of creeped me out when I was a kid.
It's creepy. Zombie Marine is a creepy state.
It's funny, that was the first time in so long I've seen like a player standing there with no one attached to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay, we got totally derailed. We were talking about, you were making super interesting points, and then we just got
damn,
derailed.
what were we talking about? Oh, don't recommend Sunlust. Oh yeah, so new players need to be
mean thing.
I've seen there's a pretty good thread that gets referenced a lot. It's not perfect, but I think there's a pretty good thread in terms of like where do you like the difficulty arc you ought to aim for, like how do you escalate gently from Doom 2.
The like how to get better thread. I can't remember what it's called. Vertigo's thread.
Yeah, it's basically you start it
skill progression.
Yeah. But it involves going from like Doom to fava beans, and it's like, please just skip fava beans. I know that there are people who like it, but there's no reason to play fava beans. It's just more E1. You can play E1 multiple times, and it's just fava beans. I would recommend like the classic episode, or the first episode of No End in Sight, much more than fava beans. Anyway, but yeah, like that thread is good for if you want to escalate difficulty, but in terms of variety, it doesn't have a ton of variety. It basically sticks with the main line, Ancient Aliens, Valiant, whatever. The reason I like the reason I like the memorable maps list so much, which is incidentally how I got into, various Doom PWADs.
Which list, sorry?
The 100 most memorable maps list.
Oh, right. Which has a lot more content to offer anyway, to be fair.
Well, it's got a lot of content, but more importantly, it's got a variety. It's got a map from Strain on there. It's got maps from, I think there might be a Fragport map on there. There's old and new.
It's not just all like the AAA stuff.
Yeah, there's UAC Dead is on there. It's like a very high ranking slot. There's Community Chest 2, obviously, Mucus Flow.
I would recommend UAC Dead over Fava Beans 10 times out of 10.
Well, yeah, because it's like a magical, it's like Doomkid, but also really, really creative and inventive and not too difficult either.
Yeah, like shows inventive and creative mapping very early.
It doesn't just plagiarize Romero and also in the text file be the most arrogant cuss ever. You ever read that text file?
Dude. Yeah. Yes. Dude, it's so funny. My review I left on id Games like 10 years ago was the author seems a little too up himself.
Yeah. Sean Burkle was very confident. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's fine. It definitely like looks good for its time, but I don't know. It plays.
All the Doom maps out there stink. Mine are the good ones.
Yeah, imagine putting that in your text file today.
Oh God,
wouldn't happen.
It wasn't even true back when he wrote it. But anyway, let's.
Well, don't say that. It was the number one WAD of 1995 as voted by Linguisa and Saib.
Yeah, well. Linguisa and Saib, they are true blue Doomers, and they know they're doomed, but I gotta disagree with them on that one. Well, I think even sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think like it's kind of like you said, Fava Beans was really good at the time for being competent, but it wasn't that creative. Like even for the time, there was some maps that had like some glitches and some HOMs that were still more fun for their creativity. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree. That's why, I mean, this is off topic, but that's why I love the Nova series so much. Those maps can be rough, but they try different things, and that's basically what I look for exclusively in Doom maps today, is maps that evoke different feelings, do slightly different things with combat. I mean, unless it's Skillsoft. I mean, anything Skillsoft makes, I'll play it, and I will...
Yeah,
I will
it's
enjoy
gonna
it.
be at least darn good. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that's a baseline guarantee.
Well, and that goes for any mapper that I like, I guess. I would play Joshi or Darkwave or, you know, a whole litany of others. Jaska, obviously, if he comes out with Lost Civ 2 anytime soon.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And, you know, like, Doomkid, that goes without saying.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
God he's right there.
That guy.
No, I'm joking.
I wish Doomkid would, you know, make more maps of his own in his community projects, because there's all those other guys. You know, I'm sifting through this garbage by like MtPain27. I want to get to the Doomkid maps.
You know what? On that subject, a buddy of mine named Dynamo, who
yeah, I know Dynamo.
we've talked to for years. Yeah, he. I told him, isn't it a great? I can't remember the context. We're having a much larger discussion, but in the middle, I kind of threw this in, and I was like, "Isn't it a great scam I've got going?" And he's like, "Oh, what do you?" He's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I'm like, "I make one episode like of my own, and generate like a little bit of chatter and knowledge about this thing, and then I outsource the community project and get way better people involved.
And win a cack award.
That's how I get." And like, he didn't laugh, so I hope he knew I was joking. Like,
oh, really? I mean, it's clearly a joke.
I'm sure he did. But I, you know, it's with text. It can be hard to tell sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I get it.
But anyway, I just thought it was fun. I wanted to sneak that in there.
Well, for the record, I was joking about yeah, I was joking about you milking the you know, other mappers' contributions, because you aren't. You're and in fact you're providing the backbone with the dehacked, the lore, and I actually really liked your Rowdy Rudy 2 maps. They were unironically some of my favorites in the WoD, especially the opener. It's just an infectious opener. You know.
I'm really glad you thought so. I wanted an opener that made the opener of Rowdy Rudy 1 feel dinky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but that's what sequels are supposed to do, and that's the great fun of. I think we talked about this in a you know, just we sent messages back and forth, but I love sequels to Doom WoDs. Like, I think, you know, give me TNT 15, give me Plutonia 35. I don't care. I'll just play as much of whatever I already liked as possible, which is really funny because I despise sequels to oh wow,
movies to overdone movie sequels.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, because like most of the time, a sequel is just a cash grab and not an extension of a story that needed to be extended. Because like like if a movie like Dune is being made in part 1 and part 2, so the new Dune, so that's an example of like they're not trying to milk it necessarily. They just need more space to tell the story. That's why
There's literally so much story to tell that they need a second part.
Yeah. And that's why miniseries are so great, because they take 10 episodes or whatever, because they know they're going to need a lot of real estate to tell the story, and then they use it. Scapey.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure. I just wanted to say hi to him. I didn't want him to feel weird when they connected. But no, I totally agree. And it's in the same way that a miniseries is a story that is... It's not artificially being stretched out. Like, that's how long it really took.
Mm-hmm.
The Doom WoD sequels, they're not there to make money or anything.
Oh, of course not.
There's nothing to gain other than the fun of mapping and talking about fucking Doom WoDs. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the purity of the Doom community. We do what we do because we love it without a desire for financial gain, basically.
Right. Like, if some people throw some chips in our jar... That's awesome, but like that's not what it's for.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if it was a business, it would be, you know, corrupted with all the same stuff that corrupts everything else.
Yeah.
Power. I mean,
I don't know if we should get too political, but you know, the drive for money just overwhelms everything at that point. You know?
Okay, Scapey's destroying me.
Scapey's probably a really good player who's gonna just make us look like noobs. Yeah, like maybe our experience for Doom goes back to the 90s, but Scapey's Scapey doesn't give a shit about that.
Nah, I
They're just
got
gonna
him.
wreck us.
I got him.
Oh, good, good.
Taking Scapey to school. It's so unfair when like the third guy joins and he's like has no idea that we're basically streaming this, and he's gonna he's gonna get double teamed sometimes. But like, I mean, I don't discriminate. I'm killing you both, but
No. If I see a Doom guy helmet, I'm shooting at it.
Yeah, exactly. He's just caught in the middle though. It's kind of funny. Come on, son of a bitch.
So we totally haven't even, we've said stuff that I thought was fun, but and interesting to talk about, but we didn't actually get to the point of like, how does playing really, really like revolutionarily good, or not even necessarily that good, but just damn good WADs, how does it affect your opinion of other WADs that are okay but not amazing going forward? Like I'm curious to hear you talk about that.
Well, I can give you two great examples. My two favorite WADs right now are Valiant and Lost Civilization. Playing Valiant saved my love for Doom. So it didn't. It not only didn't reflect badly on future mediocre, or not even mediocre, but it didn't reflect badly on future solid WADs, but not all-time greats. It reflected well on all of Doom as a concept and made me love the whole thing more. Lost Civilization, on the other hand, I believe I said it in the video, I wasn't like, I was neither enamored with Doom nor was I kind of burned out, but it came at the perfect time. It was, I'm trying to kill Scapey, sorry. It was just, it gave me something in Doom that I didn't think, you know, I didn't think Doom could ever make me feel like tranquil and like absorbed in some kind of, you know, beautiful adventure.
I mean, oh god, those especially the first few maps,
yeah, the farmlands
are just breathtaking, man.
They really are, and that's I never thought I'd get there with I never thought I'd see that in Doom. So again, that's sort of like, sure, like my running joke of, you know, after I play a great map, I say, well, it's no mucus flow, well, it's no whatever. That's kind of how I approach, like, if I played like a great example is I loved playing Nova 2. I had a kind of an absurd amount of fun playing Nova 2, and then I played Icarus, and it was like, well, that was no Nova 2, but there were things I found in Icarus that I enjoyed that I couldn't have gotten anywhere else. And I think Doom, more so than any other like art form, doesn't leave me feeling deprived or bored or like ungrateful when I... Jesus Christ, this guy is relentless.
I know.
Like, if I read a...
Like,
it needs two of us to take him out. Sorry, so when I watch a great movie, I think, wow, you know, nothing's gonna top. And I actually have a running list of every movie I've ever seen, and I give them ratings from 1 to 10 because I'm just that kind of guy. I mean, that's why Dean of Doom exists, is because I like to rate things.
That's so great. I wish I had the mental acute. I don't even know if that's the right thing. I wish I had the dedication to do that, because there's so many times where I watch movies and I remember that they're either good or bad, but I forget how good or how bad sometimes if enough time goes by, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm trying to use my movie list as an illustration for kind of how it can, like, how I view movies versus how I view Doom WADs. I think it's been 7 years since I've watched a 10 out of 10 movie. I add to that list, you know, I add 10 out of 10s very rarely. There was a time when I'd watch one a year, because I was just, you know, uncovering new, new to me, gems, and then I would eventually kind of run out. And that was super disappointing, and lately I feel like my love of movies has kind of dissipated somewhat because I've watched all the quote-unquote classics. But with Doom, weirdly enough, new classics keep popping up, and I appreciate those, like, 7 out of 10s, and, you know, I think it's odd, but I think some days I like playing A- type WADs more than I like playing A+ type WADs. Right.
That's good to hear. That's reassuring for me too.
Well, it just balances out, and it gives it's more about the variety of flavor than the quality of excellence. That's why I can put off playing Sunlust basically forever, because Like I know it's going to be good, but I can just kind of save it, you know. And then
Right.
in the meantime, I'm going to encounter a lot of like clearly like I don't seek out like C type experiences or just like wads. Like I don't want to play 5 Memento Moris in a row, but there's a pretty
No.
there's a pretty broad threshold of wads that are really enjoyable to me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad to hear that. It's not just you don't necessarily want blockbuster after blockbuster. Sometimes you want to break them up with some like good sort of sit back and turn your brain off popcorn doom, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and not even like there are also some kind of underappreciated gems that are just maybe they don't have the glitz and glamour of Sunlust, but something like a great example is Unholy Realms. Oh boy, gotcha.
crap.
Unholy Realms is a great example of a WoD that flew under my radar. A lot of people recommended it to me, and I'm thinking that they were probably like really hardcore Doom aficionados now, because it's surprising more people don't know about it. It's Brian Knox, or Snakes, I think was his name.
Right.
Skillsaw makes a cameo in there, but that's probably one of the least interesting maps in the set. Unholy Realms, they're all like dense, kind of Scythe-like, but they're really ornate, like pretty maps from 2013. None of them are very long. They're all like the vast majority of them are under 15 minutes. A lot of like wide open arena type stuff too. You'd be surprised how much carnage you can fit into 150 monsters. But an absolutely jaw-dropping, ass-kicking soundtrack by Primeval. You probably heard a lot of those tracks before.
Yes, I'm sure I have. I know of Unholy Realms, so.
Your Move, Saibi is the one I was thinking of that I've seen in, I think, where was it? 180 MPV or something. Anyway, but that's a WoD that, like, I'm not going to give the grade away, but it was not an A+, but it didn't need to be. It was just, it showed up at exactly the right time in my Doom playing, life, and gave me what I needed. And, what I needed at that moment was a WoD that didn't take up a ton of my time, but was handsome and carefully crafted, and had some really cool cameos from Chorus, Joshi, and Skillsaw. So, totally worth playing. I think everybody in the audience should check out Unholy Realms if they haven't already. I'm a little late to the party with all these, though, so I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir.
Oh, look, no, there's a lot of people who you have gotten into Doom since. I know it feels like you're late to the party, so to speak, but Doom is one of those, the family just gets bigger every day.
That's true.
So since you started, a lot of people have gotten into Doom through you. You know what I mean? In the same way that
I've seen that firsthand, and it's been probably the single most gratifying experience in the whole show. Is like that's the whole point of the show, is to get people to play Doom, because there's so much worth playing. There's so much fun to be had.
It stuns me because a couple years ago, I don't want to compare the two because I feel like Dean of Doom is beyond being a WoD review show. It's also a piece of art that you've made, and I appreciate it as such. Whereas I made like these little tutorial videos where I was like picking my nose and like coughing halfway through them and shit.
That's not true.
But like, well, I'm just exaggerating. But people tell me like, hey, Doomkid, like your tutorial videos were like my first tiptoe into Doom modding, and I'm like, holy shit, really? Like I had the impact that the guy Randy Everett who made Doom to Die had on me. Are you serious? Like, damn, that's cool.
That's wonderful.
It just feels good. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, you can't replace that feeling. You can't buy that,
Exactly. And I'm so glad that your channel is around to be like a really quality and easy to digest source of new Doom content and new people getting into the Doom family. I've totally derailed our original topic, by the way.
Oh, no.
I still think it's...
Well, it's a natural offshoot of, finding WoDs that kind of blow us away, and how do we compare the average stuff we play against the kind of sterling stuff.
Right. And I guess hearing you say that the variety is really a big part of it is good. See, for me, like, to bring it back to the movie comparison, I'm actually the type of person who loves to intentionally watch a lot of like B and C grade movies. Not trash.
Oh yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean?
no, I gotcha.
But stuff that's still like good, but like has a couple obvious acting flaws or like whatever. But it's still a decent piece of thing. I feel that same way about Doom as well. Like I always felt like I was like a well-known and appreciated B-lister in the realm of mapping. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of like I mean,
And I like that.
yeah.
So I was worried. See, one of my worries was, well, not worry is the wrong word. That's far too strong of a word. But one of my concern is too strong as well. Anyway, one of my thoughts that I have when I see you or other people playing who have told me, hey, I liked some of your maps, Doomkid. I'm like, oh, great. And then a few months or weeks or whatever go by, and they're like, oh my god, I just played such and such WAD, and it rocked my socks. I'm like, well, there goes my chances of them enjoying any of my other stuff. But it's not like that, and I'm really glad to hear for you and from, I think, probably most people, it isn't like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so what I will say is that name recognition is way more important in the Doom community than... I mean, it's really important. If I see that Skillsaw made something, I'm gonna play that. And if I like, that's why I pay close attention now to map authors, because it's like if I liked anything about that map, I'm gonna keep my eye on them. But
Right.
if it's like, here's a great example. There's a WAD came out in 2018 called the Vactor End of the Fifth Circle by Airdrop. It's like a Mesoamerican style. It's really neat. Tons of dehacked stuff, tons of new graphics, and won a CAC award.
I need to play that. I haven't even heard of that. It sounds really interesting.
It's 12 maps, but they're all really epic and huge. But Airdrop, I didn't know who the hell he was. I heard about a Vactor, and I was like, yeah, I'll pass on that. But then I played... Airdrop made map 29 and map 21 in TNT Revolution, and then he made map 13 in Nova 2, which got a salutatorian from me because I thought it was just phenomenally fun. Just like, I think Gore Confetti is something he has a mastery over. Just like fun fights with enough... They have an edge, but there's also like... He rewards you with just like, you know, gore and zombies exploding and stuff like that. Oh, that's
right.
it.
You get to just mow down a bunch of fodder and stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I picked up on Airdrop's name, and he made those 3 maps and basically entered my... Feel bad for me, dude. Oh, Ralphus is here.
Yeah, yours is actually worse than mine. At least mine's a consistent half second. Yours is like Jittertown.
Well, I mean, I'm actually, if you could see my screen, I'm doing fine visually. I'm just playing like crap because I can't keep what I'm talking about, and I really am. This is like MtPain unfiltered. You'd be surprised how little I'm moderating what I'm saying right now.
Oh, I'm glad. I like it. I think part of the reason we became friends is because our unfiltered ramblings we both appreciated. Anyway, go on. Yeah. I don't want to derail you anymore.
We were talking about, help me out, Airdrop. So yeah, name recognition is really important. So I'm saying if I like one Doomkid map, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind and follow up on whatever Doomkid makes. However, there's several mappers who it's like, a great example is DFF from Rowdy Rudy 2. I kind of dumped on one of his maps in that Black Gold.
Black Gold.
Didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. It was kind of mean, and I was like, oh, DFF. You know, he for whatever reason, that map rubbed me the wrong way more than once, and then he kind of entered my, watch out for DFF. But then I played Interception 2, and he made a bunch of just super creative, super fleshed out, gorgeous, and entertaining maps. They were long. That might have been their biggest flaw. But he's clearly like not only competent, he's one of the Doom artists.
Very creative.
Yeah, he's basically one of the a mapper to watch on pretty much the same level as like a Ronnie James Diner, who's also a new mapper to watch.
I thought, dude, I'm gonna interrupt you again and just say, I always would get RJD and DFF mixed up in my file, especially because they both have such like this. They make great detail within vanilla limits, and they make great maps that have like that are usually a little on the larger side, but not like overwhelmingly so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, DFF,
And,
I'm saying you give him a limit at removing port and no limit on how big his map can get, and it gets pretty big. I don't know if you played Interception 2, but
Oh, no, I haven't. See, I've only played his Rowdy Rudy and Ray Mohawk stuff.
there's map 11 from Interception 2 is a good hour, and then he's got another one that's like hit scan based. It's like 400 hit scanners. It's like Stronghold on steroids from TNT, but great map. I think it's map... I don't have a photographic memory for map numbers, but I would say it's in the middle, like 18 or something. His are probably the ones I enjoy the most in that WAD. Whoa.
Wow, that was a good explosion. The two of you just collided. And,
Yep.
Anyway, DFF. On the note of DFF, I just again a little offshoot.
Yeah.
Did you play? I don't know if I want to talk about it in case you're going to bring it up in an episode or something. But we don't have to give too much. But did you play DFF's Ray Mohawk 2 stuff?
I couldn't tell you which maps he made, but I certainly did. I just forget which ones of his maps. I mean, I played them all basically, so.
They were both large-ish, but by no means like super big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I liked his. There were a couple whose names I won't mention who I didn't love on first glance, but I've given you my thoughts on Ray Mohawk before. It's so intense, dude. It's you're the glassiest glass cannon of all time, and the later maps do get frenetic to the point of pulling my hair out a little bit. So.
Oh man, I'm so full of anticipation. If you ever do end up making the episode about it, I'm very full of anticipation. I hope it. Look, put it this way: as long as you think the guns feel good, and you don't think it sucks, then I'll be happy.
The guns are great. I can tell you that right now, and it doesn't suck. So you should be happy.
That's good. Okay, I'm fine then. For some reason, it's like I told you on BF Thud. It's like. I view you the same way, like I viewed the teachers who were actually cool and actually cared what they thought.
Yeah.
And when they'd give me like a,
the D+.
So if it seems strange that I'm like asking you about that, then that's why. Okay.
Right. I don't want to traumatize you with another D+. That would be terrible. I would be very guilty.
Oh. No, don't worry.
I'm joking.
I won't be traumatized. You gave Hell's Doorstep, which was one of my most proud maps.
Really?
In Rowdy Rudy.
Really?
I for some reason I loved that one.
Well,
I was like,
they picked a great music for it. The music's phenomenal.
Oh man, that's a Russian song.
Oh yeah.
Called by a band called Korol I Shut, called Memories of Past Love. I first heard of that through Drown in Blood.
Oh wow.
WAD that was based on these resources, by the way.
Yeah. You mentioned that.
And yeah, it was. So yeah, it's funny. A lot of the stuff that in Rowdy Rudy 2, I picked that music from Halo from map 01.
Uh-huh.
This is gonna sound insane, and it is because I am a little bit, tapped in some ways. But when Eternity used, so there was an old WAD called ZD-CTF, like the Z-Damon Capture the Flag.
Yeah.
The first time I ever heard, I didn't play Memento Mori 2 that much. Memento Mori 1 always seemed to be the one people had on the servers.
Yeah.
Back in 2002, let's say. So, I never heard Mark Clem's Memento Mori 2 music. I'd heard all of his Gothic DM and his Memento Mori 1 stuff, so I already knew I loved his work. And I heard in ZD-CTF in like 2006, I heard some of his Memento Mori 2 stuff, including the track that Eternity opens with.
Oh yeah.
Which is a really pretty track that suits the level perfectly for Eternity.
Yeah, except you're never going to hear the whole track. I think it's kind of a bad pick because it's a 6-minute track and it's a 3-minute level.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It is it fits well, but it's too long. But it's a great piece of music.
Oh, it's
that's kind of like
Mark Clem. I'm going to say it on tape right now. Mark Clem is the best MIDI composer ever at using percussion and rhythm.
Okay. Right.
He is almost all of his songs have a percussive backbone that just. There are other more inventive. I think Stu Boy might be the most inventive percussionist. I mean, because he is a percussionist in real life, but
right.
That he might be more creative. But Mark Clem is like the most important and the best at making rhythm important in a MIDI track. There's others that kind of lean on riffage or catchiness or virtuosity. But
there's the
what's up?
Oh, there's a track speaking about Mark Clem and how his the rhythm is such an important factor in the music he makes and stuff, and how he does a great job emphasizing the role of the percussion in the music.
Yeah.
Um, there was a song, one of my favorite Mark Clem songs, is one that you made a little joke about in Memento Mori.
Oh no, is it the
And
bagpipe one? Is it the one that I said this is the third time we've heard
after
it or
the
whatever?
10th time hearing, doo, doo,
Oh.
dude, that was so funny.
Oh man, it kind of drives you nuts a little bit. Although I can see why.
It's funny because for me, I think of the bridge map 2, because I was the type of kid who'd play 10 levels and then go, oh, okay, I'm gonna go find another WAD now. So like the first half
yeah.
of Memento Mori
Yeah,
was
yeah,
always was like way more what I thought of. And so I just thought of hearing it for like 5 minutes in the bridge and then it being done. You know what I mean?
right, which
And
would
I
have been
loved-
much more tolerable.
Right. And I loved the slow. There's little bits of like tinklings of percussion going on that really give the song a very empty, almost song, a spine leading up to the bagpipe bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like that part.
And I love that MIDI. And so when I heard you say, "Oh my god," for the 10th time, I'm sick of this, or whatever it was, the exact wording was.
I think I said I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that part after the 400th time, because so I played that with Decino, and I played it on my own twice, and I played it with the Delinquent once, way back when, and yeah, no, I just I got sick to death of that track, and it's not.
I mean, you would, after hearing it over and over and over, you would get. It's an unfortunate thing where a good piece of music gets fucked up because it gets like the association becomes bad. You know what I mean?
That's not Mark Clem's fault. That's anybody but. I mean, in fact, you know what I was just thinking though is it's remarkable how somebody like I was thinking Joshy specifically because I was playing some Resurgence today. I was thinking it's remarkable how mappers have the faith to give their levels over to composers that like Stu Boy composes music like bespoke for Joshy, Speed of Doom, Resurgence, of Eternity, meaning Dragonfly. He composes music for Skillsaw, and it's like I can't believe how much faith those guys have in him to just kind of define the soul of their levels. It's like they make this thing. I mean, Stu Boy's as trustworthy as they come. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, unless I picked the music specifically or made it myself, I don't know that I'd have that much. It takes a tremendous amount of faith and belief because musicians practically define, for me anyway, how the memory of a map sounds in my head.
It's funny because I feel the same way. I can't recall who, but I heard someone say the idea that music is super important to the way a map feels is pretentious, and I thought that was silly.
What?
And then,
no.
to be fair, I don't know.
Who said that?
Were...
Wait, did Dario Casali say that?
No, I don't think it was. No, I can't remember. I think they were half joking, possibly. Like I don't think they're being that serious necessarily.
I want to say it makes a lot of sense that Dario Casali doesn't play his Doom maps with music on because he picked some pretty whatever tracks for Plutonia. I mean, that kind of makes sense that he would just pick the stock tracks and move on.
Oh, I kind of thought they just put all the IWAD midis in a fucking grab bag, shook it up, and picked them. That's how I figured
they're fine and everything. They're just, whatever.
I just feel like it was like arbitrary. The Plutonia midis almost feel like they were a random number generator picked which MIDI went with which map. You know what I mean?
I mean, some of them, like I always think of Ghost Town using the Hiding the Secrets. Always felt particularly inspired to me.
Yeah, some of them do. And what's the one? Baron's Den or Cyber? What's the level called? Cyber Den or Baron's Den? The one that has the 4.
Baron's Lair?
It has 4 Cyber Demons. Baron's Lair.
Oh no, Cyber Den.
Cyber Den. Okay, that's what I was getting.
That's got Sign of Evil, right?
Yeah, which works really well for that imposing 4 Cyber Demon startup. You know what I mean?
Oh, and actually, you know what the best one is Nobody Told Me About Id. Map 32.
Oh, right.
That's basically perfect because it's like that's the same music you hear when the Cyber Demon first shows up, and it's like that one is probably picked on purpose because everybody who played Doom in '93 was crapping their pants when they first saw Cyber Demon. And that's the same effect they wanted for Go To It. So
it's funny because I I said that RNG comment about the music earlier, but now that I'm thinking about it, probably at least half of the Plutonia choices do feel somewhat inspired.
Yeah, so Milo picked the music. In other words.
Oh, right.
Not Dario.
I was going to say map 30 as well, having the like spooky text music.
Oh,
from
that's
Doom 1.
that's another great pick. Yeah, I guess we got to back off of Plutonia's music choices, but still, I'm joking about music. Absolutely, it's arguably fundamental to the Doom experience for me. That's why I can't get behind MIDI music specifically.
I feel this like as a mapper, the music I pick for a map really I had that in mind. A lot of times I'll listen to the song while making the map. In fact, and like my map in Ray Mohawk 2. Again, I don't want to over. I can only draw from what I've made. It's hard to put myself in other people's. But like, there's a map 12, Beautiful Clean Coal. I made that while listening to No Quarter by Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That was brilliant. I love that choice. You saw me play that.
I'm glad. I'm glad you thought it was a good MIDI for the map. It was made with it in mind, sort of. And yeah. Anyway, so like, okay, so the guy who said the music thing was pretentious or whatever came from a thread that was about someone wanted to play music Doom with the music switched off, but they were like worried that it would be destroying the soul. And there is merit there, but it's like if you really want to listen to your EDM while playing Doom, you shouldn't let it stop you from enjoying the levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I just, because you were like, is there any Doom WODs that don't have any soundtrack that are like MIDI-less? I'm like, very few. You know what I mean? Very few.
Yeah.
Anyway, I totally brought us down the friggin' Plutonium MIDI street.
No, I think that was totally worth talking about because we were talking about music earlier. So.
Yeah, it was good. It was, and but yeah. Anyway, the long short of it is like you submitted a map for Jamal Jones.
Yes.
That has your MIDI file, and I like. I mean, I'm not gonna say which maps are winning and which ones are losing, but I thought your map was fun, and I thought your MIDI was cool.
Yeah.
And I will forever associate the two now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and I'd be over the moon if somebody ever used the MIDI that I made for one of my maps for one of their maps. That would be the coolest thing ever. Stu Boy must get that feeling like every Thursday because his maps are. He and Jimmy are like. Well, Jimmy's music is probably the most played of any.
Jimmy is the ubiquitous composer of Doom.
His stuff just fits so many places, and I always like forget how versatile he is. Like I usually think of him as like a progressive rock type guy, but I don't know. He's got.
I think that's what he likes to listen to, but it's not just what he makes. Though,
but like I was saying, like Sigil Map 5 is this super ambient. Actually, 5, 6, and 7 are all these really exploratory, borderline ambient pieces that are just. I actually just ran to the Sigil soundtrack today, so it's fresh on my mind.
Oh, right. Man, I won't be able to speak for like 1 minute, but I'll be able to hear you. Okay, so don't stop talking on my behalf.
Okay, gotcha. It's tricky. I was just trying to figure out where we were in our conversation.
I'm sorry, I friggin' derailed you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't even know what time it is, frankly.
Oh, have I kept you too long?
No,
Shit, I'm sorry.
No. I'm idly wondering. So Scapey went away and then came back. I am just getting destroyed. I know it's been a while since I played Deathmatch, but I'm getting destroyed more than I thought I was.
I've literally just been like autopiloting the last 30 minutes. Like,
your autopilot is your autopilot is twice as good as my autopilot. Oh, actually, you know what? I do have I have a discussion topic, and that's WODs that I think are not like didn't make as good a use of music as they could have. Like as in like you wish they had their own custom tracks, or I mean I think this is a pretty good topic for like WODs that typically deserve or that have been elected to be MIDI packed, get the MIDI pack treatment. I think Alien Vendetta, you guys kind of decided to do a MIDI pack for Alien Vendetta. That's a WOD that I think its music is quite strong. Even most of the Doom 2 stock tracks are pretty strong.
Cammy, well, the reason the mid twit came to be was just because I was tired of hearing D run in while testing, honestly. But
Yeah.
the AV MIDI pack, I was almost Cammy and all the other musicians who worked on that are brilliant musicians. Honestly.
Oh, of course, of course.
I was a little bit worried. I was like, shit, AV has such a good built-in soundtrack. Do we really need a MIDI pack? Like,
yeah. Well, they got. I mean, it was a big selling point that they got Chris Laverdure to do a remix of "Fight the Logic If You Can," which is pretty amazing if you think about it.
Oh my god! And they got Edwin van Veldhoven to do another track too. Like he's one of the earliest. Like he can hear his Danielle's face in some wads from like 1995.
Oh wow!
So he really goes back in the community. Like
I
don't even think he did it for Doom back in the day, but he knew that people liked his midis in Doom. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. So I mean,
like I remember saying, I was like to Cam, sorry, I'll let you go. I need to get some water after this, and then I'll listen to you and fill up water. But I remember saying to Cammy, like, getting Edwin van Veldhoven on board was an ultra flex. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I remember kind of like when Jeremy Doyle showed up to do music for TNT Revolution. That was kind of amazing. He did 4 tracks and then kind of came out of semi-retirement at that point. But to have an original TNT member on your team to do your music for your TNT sequel project is just wild. So basically, like, as far as I'm concerned, the Alien Vendetta MIDI pack is, canon. Oh, what is this? A cage.
okay.
But that being said, I'm probably never going to play Alien Vendetta with it. But like, there's so many good MIDIs to mine from there for other projects that I'm sure it'll get used, and those composers deserve recognition because they're all amazing. But it's just, I think music associations are about the most important thing I have with WADs. Anyway, I was trying to delve the topic of WADs where the music could have been stronger, and I think at the top of that list for me is Hellbound. Hellbound uses a ton of, like, Hellbound is an astonishing WAD. I don't know if you've ever played it. Do you know?
No, I haven't.
So Hellbound is some of the most impressive vanilla texturing work you're ever gonna see. Just the guy uses almost no non-vanilla assets. He's got like a custom status bar and like 1 or 2 textures for like windows and stuff. But
was Hellbound by it was by an old school mapper who's still around, wasn't it?
Zoltan Solfalvi. He's Hungarian.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was Kaplan. For some reason, I don't know why.
Oh
Adam
no,
Windsor.
yeah, no, I know who that is. He was a Requiem guy, I believe.
That might have been what I was getting my wires crossed with.
No, Hellbound's in 2013, and its thing is it's gigantic maps, mega maps.
Oh, Hellbound's 2013.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm thinking of something totally different. God, I'm such a. There's a WAD.
You got a lot of WADs swimming around your head, friend. No shame in getting them confused.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you keep going. Don't let Grandpa Doomkid derail you.
So I played Hellbound in its entirety a while ago, and I've been replaying it, and I think my consensus is, without spoiling anything, the first like 20 maps have a lot of really just outstanding jaw-dropping work, and the combat is mostly a lot better than people say it is. But at the end, it kind of, the Hell episode, which ironically seems like he spent a ton of time on it, perfecting it, ends up being one of the weaker ones, in no small part due to the music, which is a lot of like Doom 2 stock music. He uses.
Oh, really? In a 2013 one?
Yeah, he like I think he did it intentionally though, because there's a map with Demons in Adrian's Pen. That's not a Hell map, but it's towards the end, and it's a huge like E2 reference. The whole map is like an E2 reference. So
okay, well that makes, for that one map, that makes sense.
Yeah, but like then there's a lot of others. There's I don't know. I got to replay it, but it's a little frustrating because the maps that are, well, I'm a sucker for the TNT tracks he uses. Like he throws in Horizon by Tom Mustaine from map 20. He throws in More, map 17.
Good.
So those are great, but I mean, again, I'm kind of a sucker. I think everybody else probably thinks they're really like overused, kind of annoying, etc.
I don't know. For me, it's like TNT. I think of TNT as a PWAD because that's how I downloaded it in that context. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like,
well, and it's a custom WAD for sure. which is actually why I didn't. I'm never gonna protest it aloud, but I will probably never be playing the TNT with the TNT MIDI pack either. I did actually gloss through and listen to all those MIDIs, but I couldn't replace the originals, even the Doom 2 tracks.
Did you listen to the one that Jimmy and I did?
Which one? Which number?
We did. It was one of the insane tracks. There's, the two insane midis that are super fast.
Oh,
I always get them mixed up. I love both of them so much.
Those
one
are
is Soldier
of Chaos.
Yeah, and the other one is
Let's Kill It Will.
Let's Kill It Will. I love those motherfucking
Oh my god,
songs.
those are so great. Those are the not L.A. Sieben. What's the other guy's name?
One of the other non-American names.
Yeah, what's his name? I forget. I just said them all today. Mustaine, Sieben, and... Oh, this is gonna haunt me. He made them... Okay, I'm looking it up. I can't take this.
Is it El Breezy?
Jonathan El Bizri. Jonathan El Bizri made some of the most...
Bizries.
That dude made some of the most interesting tracks. He made the one from Steelworks, Cold Subtleness. That track's amazing. I believe he made that one.
Yeah.
But he made all the experimental, like, odd ones, and yeah, Let's Kill It Will. I did listen to that one. I liked it. Especially because you guys preserved the original structure somewhat.
I tried to do... Do you mind if I give you a little quick history lesson on that MIDI?
Go for it.
Okay, so when Cammy asked me to be part of the project, or I might have even offered, I don't remember how it exactly went down. Either way, I was a little bit stressed out because I know Cammy is like a really good musician. And I know Cammy likes things to be done well and to be done right. And I don't want to muck up Cammy's project. And so
damn.
I was, sorry, I had to tell. Yeah, no. So I was like trying to write a riff that was as eclectic as Let's Kill It Will.
Which would be hard.
And, sorry?
Which would be hard.
Yeah, and I feel like I got a decent riff. Maybe not quite as iconic as the real Let's Kill It Will riff, but I thought like I got one that preserved a similar vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But man, I could only get like 40 seconds of music made, maybe 40 to 50 seconds of music, and it was really disjointed too. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the server is like, are you disconnected from the server?
Yep.
The whole server went down. Okay. Let's jump to like West Side, okay?
Okay, sure.
Just because I know that they're probably not down.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I could only get like 40 interesting but somewhat disjointed seconds of music written. Maybe I stretched it out to like a minute. And I was desperate. And so like I commissioned Jimmy. I was like, Jimmy, if I commission you, I knew he was really busy. I was like, I know you had a bunch of shit on your plate. But can I commission you to like finish the last like 60%, let's say, of this song and get it and fuse it specifically with the sort of style of Let's Kill It Will.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into Danzig 1 and Danzig 2, okay?
Okay. Dual rotation or deathmatch?
Yeah. Just deathmatch. Deathmatch, yeah, this one here. Danzig 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyway, as we were talking about. So, Jimmy, I gave Jimmy the commission, and then he ended up making the song. But Cammy had specified, and neither I nor Jimmy, I think, realized this initially.
Yeah.
But Cammy had specified that the exact riff from the original needs to be in there.
Oh.
And at the end of the day, I'm glad that he did.
Yeah.
But neither Jimmy nor I had realized that. So what we ended up... Sorry, yeah, I was just talking to Ralphus there.
Yep, I saw.
Anyway, yeah, sorry, I just didn't want to ignore him. So yeah, Jimmy had to go back yet again and like restructure the song to add the original Let's Kill It Will riff in there.
Yeah.
Rather than just like my interpretation and then his riff on my interpretation. So like it was a source of stress for me initially because I knew the song was not holding up to snuff.
Yeah.
And then it was a source of stress for Jimmy because he had to go back and re-edit it a few times to actually get it where it needed to be when he already had other shit he was working on too. And so the song title very fittingly at the end of the day was Source of Stress.
And that's actually a great title for the MIDI because it's that whole map is kind of a source of stress. The whole map is based on you're in a crate maze with arch files, filtering in, and it's scary. Yeah, that was always one of the tensest maps for me.
I'm glad that you picked up on that because for me it was like the MIDI already has a stressful sound. Like it's a stressful piece of music. You know what I mean?
Wait. Do you mean
and
do 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 do? No, I go to sleep to that. I go to sleep at night to that, dude. Like I use that to fall asleep. It's relaxing.
Oh yeah, it's so chill, dude. It just makes you want to go to get cuddled, get snuggled in.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I like how that seems like it came together fortuitously, like it was supposed to be that way.
Yeah, exactly. The title reflected the time we had creating it and the sound of it and the map that it's for. So it worked on so many different levels. Anyway, I totally hijacked your story, but I just wanted to tell that little bit of history somewhere.
Damn.
So we preserve for future generations.
Yeah. So what was my story?
You were talking about the TNT soundtrack and how like you think I don't know if this is exactly where you left off. This might be a little too soon, but you said that it was really good and like you liked the musicians, but for you the original TNT MIDIs, nothing could ever replace them.
Oh yeah. Oh, so I guess we're talking about custom music and the importance of custom music to shaping a map's personality, and it's like I think TNT taught me that because honestly, Doom 2 doesn't even really care about music as much as Doom 1, for God's sake, because
true.
There's less repetition in Doom 1 than Doom 2. Like there's only one nobody told me about it. There's only one facing the spider, for example. But in Doom 2 there's 3 uses of In the Dark, 3 Dave D. Taylor blueses, 2 D run-ins. It's like give me a break. Give Bobby some more time. Only one friggin'
D B twee, only one D ampy. It's like, why have 3 of one and 1 of another? That makes no sense to me.
I don't understand. Maybe they liked those tracks less, I guess. Like, I think they could have done with 1 D Doom. I think they could have done with 1. I like D Runnin'. I think the 2 uses of that are fine. But the Dave D. Taylor blues...
Yeah, D Runnin' being
right
1
now,
and 15 is actually good.
And I actually do like the Dave D. Taylor blues in general, but because it's used in TNT.
Oh, I like that song.
Is it used in Plutonia? It's got to be used. Yeah, it is. Impossible Mission.
I'm sure it is.
Like
for me, like I think of Tricks and Traps. I associate that song with Tricks and Traps.
Yeah,
and,
it's the Creator song to me.
It's funny.
Inarguably.
It bores me in other maps that use it. I'm like, it's too. Oh, we're listening to it right now. I just realized.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're talking about it, basically.
Oh, it wasn't for me. I just happened to be. You know what? Another thing you were saying. I want you to finish your point about being taught the importance of custom music.
I almost.
You're saying. Which WAD was it you said taught it to you? It was TNT.
It was TNT because I'm saying there are repetitions in TNT, and that's a big problem with that WAD in general. Like there's Into the Beast Belly. They needed to. They needed to not use that for either MtPain or Metal or the last map. Maybe if they had just done it for Metal in the last map or MtPain and Metal, but it gets beat to death a little bit by the end. I think that's why people dislike it, is because it's a 1:30 loop. It's an amazing 1:30 loop.
Which fits map 30. If you want my opinion, that MIDI was made for map 30.
Oh, it's good. It definitely works for map 30, but I'm saying it also works for MtPain. The one it doesn't work for is Metal. It's like fun.
No, why on earth was it used there? I don't know.
So that they wouldn't have to replace it with like The Demon's Dead or something from Doom 2. I think that's the reason. Honestly, here's a easy way to not get derailed. Here's a super easy conversation topic that we won't get derailed, guaranteed. Most underrated track from each IWAD.
Most underrated?
Yeah, the track that gets... Well, I mean, I'm looking at it holistically. Like, I'm going to say my pick for Doom 1 is I Saw the Demons, because it's used one time by the developers. People like it, but I think, in general, it is the most underrated because it's used the fewest times proportional to how kick-ass it is.
Yeah. Oh, you guys both disconnected.
We have to load Danzig 2.
Oh, the map's loading. I see. Sorry. But yeah. Okay. So I Saw the Demons. That's an E2M1.
Yes.
I love that MIDI, man. That's a great MIDI right there.
So what's your most underrated? What's your most underrated Doom 1 track?
Oh, sorry. Let me tell you. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I was
No, it's all good. It's all good. I see you talking.
Yeah. What were we?
Most underrated MIDI of Doom 1.
I would say in Doom 1, probably. It's hard because I had my Doom 2 answer would be easy. D between.
Really? That's a good pick.
Yeah, like people don't seem to. It's only used once in Doom 2. Everyone always says it doesn't fit and it sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm glad that that's your opinion because I don't particularly love that MIDI. I think it's short and a little bit like it's the 12-bar blues formula, but a little bit quicker. You know, that's kind of how I've seen it.
Well, to me as a kid, I didn't understand. You know, before I looked into anything approaching music theory and that.
Oh, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's like it's like zippy and quiet. I don't know. It's in what's it?
It is too quiet.
It's in Quarry too from TNT.
I think it's because I feel like I think a lot of people don't like it because it's like a Wolfenstein 3D MIDI basically.
Yeah,
like it would have fit perfectly in Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah. Shit.
And I love Wolfenstein 3D. That was one of my favorite games as a kid, even though it's too simple for most people to go back to now. Kind of like the Pong of FPS, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good example.
But man, it had good music. That game genuinely did have good music written for it.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, so anyway, between and for Doom 1, is there an underrated track? Is there a track people don't like?
Well, I mean, it's for me, my pick for underrated was because it was only used once.
Oh, the one that's not used enough?
I think that and actually the Demons in Adrian's Pen would be a good pick because I think they're both just really excellent, both used once. Weirdly, both in E2. So yeah, that's my basis for it. I'm not sure that any tracks are openly disliked. Well, I mean, I dislike a few Doom 1 tracks, but that's just me.
Oh, which one? Yeah, I'd love you to tell me.
Demons on the Prey. Really don't like it. It's played 3 times. It's just...
Which one is that again?
Yeah, that one. It's like, I don't know. It's droning and kind of... The drum beat is kind of cool. It's like menacing.
I feel like it's good, but I feel like it is overused. It's overrepresented. I definitely agree with that.
Well, I take Suspense over that any day.
Suspense is dun 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 dun.
Yeah, E1M5. I love that.
Yeah, I love that one a lot. My favorite of the Doom 1 tracks, like, okay, it's really for the ambient ones. It's a toss up between the Demons from Adrian's Pen.
Great one. Yep.
And which is the Crate Maze, right? That's the right MIDI.
Yep.
And E1M3 Dark Halls.
Oh yeah, well, Dark Halls again. This is the weird thing is that will always be associated with Plutonia Map 2 for me. That's That's Well of
Oh
Souls.
yeah, Well of Souls for sure. That's a strong. It's funny for me. There's like 3 different maps that I love that I associate strongly with that MIDI.
Yeah, yeah.
Map E1M3,
Uh-huh.
Well of Souls, and Map 1 of Doomed to Die. All
Oh,
use that
nice.
same MIDI.
Nice.
And so as a kid, I was like, I loved all 3 of those maps. And so I think they just built good associations with the MIDI. You know what I mean?
Totally, totally. And that's
And
that's great. That's another
what about, okay.
that's another great example of a MIDI that's used once. Like, why couldn't they have used Well of Souls twice and cut back one usage of Demons on the Prey?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree. And E4 was really dropped the ball. It had a chance to give some of them a second use, and it didn't.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, it gave Suspense a second use, didn't it? For E4, M4?
It did, yeah, it did. But it's I feel like it could have done more. Like E4 didn't have to feel boring at all, and Sign of Evil for the first map was perfect. Like, that worked really well.
That was great. Although that is also dramatically overplayed in PWADs too. Sign of Evil.
Oh my god, it's used 3 times in the iWad.
Yeah.
It's used in PWADs out to here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
I'll tell you what. That was my that was my ex-girlfriend's least favorite Doom song. She heard a lot of Doom when she was around, and that was by far. She's at the guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the least.
Were you listening to it with like the somewhere between the Windows MIDI and SC55, which sound basically the same? Was that how she was hearing it?
I mean, it was like you get a generic PC and you use the. I mean, it wasn't SC55. It was that kind of crunchy, whiny guitar sound that it usually is.
So
I don't think it would have mattered. I think it was the composition. I think it was the bend and the
Right,
sustain that
right.
was annoying.
The sound font was not the issue. The actual MIDI itself.
And I don't share the sentiment. I like Sign of Evil. It's just a great example is like they threw it into Community Chest MtPain27, and it's like, dude, why? There are so many MIDIs, even in 2003, to choose from that aren't Sign of Evil.
Dude,
like there are
by
like
2003, there was a ton of MIDIs on the internet.
I'm saying one of the rules for Community Chest was no custom music, and he's like, okay, I won't use custom music. I'll just steal it from Doom 1, even though the idea was to not steal any music and just keep the original tracks, which I wholeheartedly disagree with that idea, but...
Yeah, like, I guess they were saying you could use iWad MIDIs only?
No, because there was a Mark Clem track that was ended up... like they were pretty lax about their... enforcement of their rules. I think the point is though that he chose. I'm saying out of all the midis that there were, he chose Sign of Evil, and it's like there are just so many signs of evil. There's so many.
You know what? I have to admit, and it's not even. I don't even have the excuse of it being early in my mapping career. This is like from the middle of my mapping career. I used it, and I actually won a D-Zone box signed by John Romero.
No way.
For a map that used it, in fact.
Wow. What was the context of this? Tell me that story.
So there was a guy on Doom World named Bucket.
Oh yeah,
not Bucket, sorry. Buckshot.
Buckshot.
Bucket, Buckshot.
Say, I know Bucket. Bucket needs no introduction.
I know Bucket too. He and I and a bunch of others were hanging out on that Mid-Twid stream almost a year ago now. But anyway,
Bucket
Buckshot
is
who I meant to say, actually. So not Bucket.
Yeah.
Another old community member, though, who's been around since the dawn of time. But, yeah, he started a contest. It was like, win a signed Romero D-Zone box. Just make a Doom 1 map that is a classic style. And he named 1 or 2. He's like, Mount Erebus and another one of the other levels. He's like, make a level that, like, evokes the feel that these feel, and if you win the contest, you get this signed D-Zone box, John Romero. And I was like, sweet, dude. And so right away I got to work on a map.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I guess because I wanted to preserve the E1, or not E1, but the Doom 1 feel, I picked Sign of Evil for the MIDI. You know what I mean? Which is lame looking back.
Well, no, you can't do any better than that. That captures the whole spirit of the first game. Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, that's very true. That's probably why subconsciously that's probably what made me pick that MIDI of all the different MIDIs in Doom 1. And I ended up winning the contest because the only other person Chris Hansen, who's a
Oh
great
yeah,
mapper, the THT coordinator.
yeah,
Of
of course, of course.
and he submitted a map, and he said straight up, like, I didn't make this map for this, but I'm just gonna put it here, because why not, type thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was the only two submissions. I think it was only those two submissions, as far I remember correctly.
Well, damn, that's not a lot of
And
hype for a
I was
D-Zone
like,
signed box.
dude, to win this box that someone would buy for like $400 or something, or whatever, like,
Romero would sell that for like $100 at least.
I was like, why on earth wouldn't someone at least throw their hat in the ring with a, at least was expecting a couple of dinky, a few more dinky maps would have been better than nothing at all. But for some reason, people just straight up ignored the contest. And also, this was 2015, so it was before DoomTube had become really big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except Aquarius or something. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. There was only a few who were known in the community at the time. And then, so it was more niche. I guess the community has like doubled since then, so maybe that's why as well. Like that same contest today, I feel like at least 10 or 20 maps would be thrown in. You know what I mean?
Like 50 were entered into your contest. So I mean, there's a whole whole group of people just waiting for that kind of opportunity.
Exactly. And so anyway, I was really lucky. So my map that used Sign of Evil won that contest. I got that box. I'll hold on to that box. I still have it. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
And yeah, no, it's good. Whenever I ordered Sigil, because I'd already played it and had the wad, I decided to keep it in the shrink wrap as well.
Wow.
So it's like I have these two boxed Doom related things that I think are pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Maybe somebody will be in a contest someday in the future to try to win a signed Doomkid memorabilia.
Oh my god, I would worry that it would come off as pretentious, because Romero has he well and truly achieved the "you're so famous that you sign things" status. For me, I'm just some schlub. I haven't earned signing things.
We are but small fish in a large pond. I understand, but I was only sort of tongue in cheek because I don't know.
Well, look, hey, Decino, he's at the level where he could sign something.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I mean, he's got fame, but and it's.
He wouldn't. That's the thing. He wouldn't do it.
He's anti-merch and he's anti all that stuff. He's super practical in that way. No, I meant like
he's quality people. I can you can only tell so much about people through their videos, but like he's not focused on the wrong things. Let me just put it that way.
No, he's a perfect example of it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Right. Anyway, sorry, as you were saying.
No, but I meant it's interesting how we're kind of in a way writing history, because someday the community will dwindle to a point where it doesn't really exist, because all things end eventually.
Sure.
Unless Doom becomes akin to a professional sport or whatever, and it's like, even NFL football or whatever will fade away. So I guess the point is, somebody might study this as like an anthropological type, situation where we formed a community, and I say we a little presumptuously because I've only been a part of it for a short time, but I don't know, everything.
You've been a big part since you joined up.
Well, and everything we do leaves a mark, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So and you being around for 20 years makes you one of the most prominent members of the community. It's funny, just by sheer length of tenure. Well, yeah, but also I don't know. Also your output. Also your, especially lately, you've been on fire. And the MIDI projects you're spearheading have really, I've never seen. I was always wowed by how many different MIDI composers there were, but I think there are more MIDI composers in the community now than there ever have been. That's definitely true. Absolutely true. In no small part due to the MIDI projects that you were more or less in charge of. Oh gosh, no. The wave of new MIDI composers is I just took advantage of that. I capitalized on that with MidTwid. I had no role. I had no role in people coming. I thought MidTwid was one of the first ones. I thought that was the whole idea was that these specific packs, but all these guys
all the guys that we're thinking of with these packs, Eris Falling, Alfonso,
Eris Falling is the
Peter
other one.
Lawrence.
I really wanted to mention Eris earlier because the more I listen to his
Right,
music, the
right.
more enamored I become with it. Anyway,
Well, all I was going to say is every contributor to MidTwid, or maybe with one or two very small exceptions, like Lazy Gecko and Trial D. I don't know if they had any other known midis, but like their midis that they submitted for that were awesome. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, of course. No,
And so
I
there was
wasn't.
maybe a couple of.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to.
Sorry.
I wasn't trying to suggest that you recruited every single person in MidTwid. I just meant
Oh,
that.
no. Yeah. I don't want to take any credit for any of that because these people were already known good musicians for the most part.
Oh no,
they
yeah, of course. No, I guess all I'm trying to say is that you started the whole train of we're going to do a MIDI pack for this and a MIDI pack for that, and because I feel like
well, that was
MidTwid was an early one.
it was definitely, but I guess Jimmy really you gotta say with Plutonium MIDI pack was the OG.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That's definitely.
And I did contribute to that, but that was
sure.
that was not my brainchild. That was Jimmy.
Well, after MidTwid came the Master Levels, which was Peter's idea, Peter Lawrence.
No, Peter did that one and Master Levels and
No Rest for the Living.
What other one? Yeah, that's right. No, yeah.
And then from there, they were off to the races. That was Peter and Cammy really jumped on board with that.
Yeah, Cammy then with TNT to finish the IWAD collection or whatever, and Ivan.
Oh yeah,
Ultimate
North Afghanistan, right? I remember him. He's
he's cool. I like him a lot. He's quality people as well.
All those guys are. It's really heartening to see that kind of activity, and I just love the camaraderie in the music scene in Doom. It's so. I don't know. It's awesome.
It is awesome, dude, and I'm so glad that you're a musician too. Because like, even if you weren't, like your videos about Doom wads are incredible, and so they're. But like the fact that you're a musician as well, and we might even maybe fingers crossed see a handful of midis from you someday. Like that thought to me is awesome.
Absolutely.
Like another one enters the fold. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I mean, I think I would much rather be. Well, first of all, I've got a bunch of albums I finished years ago at this point, which is kind of scary to say. The last album I finished was in 2019. But yeah, I used to be really active making music, and that's one thing I have been desperately trying to get back into since before COVID. Kind of lost my inspiration for a while, but yeah, if I end up being known as a MIDI composer more than a map maker, because I do want to make maps, even if it's just one set, I want to try my hand at it. But I would much rather be known as a MIDI composer than a mapper even. Because that's
right.
Music makes me tick, man. It's absolutely essential in my life.
I could definitely tell by the non-MIDI pieces of music you've written that you showed me. Like I was like, oh wow, MtPain's like a good musician. Like
I wouldn't say that. I would say I
you wouldn't, but you are.
Well, I taught myself how to play guitar more or less with like a couple. I watched part of a tutorial video on the one thing. Oops, that was cheap. Sorry.
I had to take a drink real quick.
I gotta get some water here too. And actually, it's coming up on midnight here. How about 15 more minutes, then we call it quits?
Yeah, then we'll call it. Okay, so we got to the conclusion. I just want to go over the topics we wanted to talk about, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
and see,
sure.
Like, kind of summarize them here at the tail end of the video.
Yeah.
So firstly, when you were talking the importance of music in Doom maps, look, if someone wants to turn the music off and put on their own, more power to them.
Sure.
But I do think that Doom maps have, like you said, the music is a big part of the soul of a map.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, personally, I think the music is indispensable, and I think that even, like, if we're looking at Sigil, I think Buckethead's soundtrack is, I gotta turn that off and turn on the Jim midis, because Doom, well, I'm saying Doom and MIDI go together much better than Doom and anything else, any other format.
Agreed.
There
completely.
are a couple exceptions. I feel like there are one or two map sets I play that use OGGs, and they have like really peculiar choices. But I don't know. I guess my point is that yeah, to me, music is is basically the soul of Doom. But I agree with you that Doom is your game. Whoever's playing it, it's your game, and you play it how you like.
That's right. That's right. That's the beauty of Doom is it's everyone has their own little Doom, like their own little specific Doom that they love.
Yeah.
So that's the importance to me. And also, playing Grand Slam AAA wads doesn't then render like B grade wads useless as well. That was another topic that we wanted to sort of touch on and summarize, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my bottom line is I look for variety in Doom maps. I look for like wads that just do something a little different. Whether it's, I mean, I was blown away by Tangerine Nightmare. I was just, I mean, it started off as like it's an orange Halloween themed wad, and I was drawn by that. But then it just, I don't know. It's just the different graphics. The French just know their way around combat like nobody else.
Yeah.
It commanded a different atmosphere. I actually wanted to mention this earlier, but I am constantly on a search for the next Doom wad that can be creepy to me again, because one of the things Doom was more than anything else to me when I was a kid was like a kind of a scary, tense game. And nowadays,
Right.
like, I still pine for that sometimes. Like most of the time I just want it to be like relaxed or fun or action packed. I find, pain elementals and cacodemons cute more than terrifying. That sort of,
Right.
that sort of thing. But when you hit a thing like transduction in TNTR, RIP, or even something like, I mean, I just played TNT Devolution, and there are a couple maps in there that just kind of make my skin crawl, and I love that. I love when Doom wads can do that. So, and I'm saying I can get that effect from a map that I didn't particularly love playing, or that was like a little bit. Another great example is Citadel at the Edge of Eternity. The music we're listening to right now, Sean's Got the Shotgun, reminds me.
Right.
Super painful map to play, but man, oh man, am I never going to forget it. So that sort of thing is like I'm looking for the next memorable map. And I'm saying you can't look for that in just the blockbusters. And I don't suggest people trying to... I don't necessarily suggest players going for the blockbusters, mainly because they might have their expectations set too high. So, yeah, that's my long-winded way of saying...
you look for variety, and you know that sometimes it's not just, you don't look just in the bag of diamonds for diamonds, you also look in the rough for the diamond in the rough, you know what I mean?
You are absolutely correct, yes. And I also would say take reviewers' opinions like mine with a grain of salt, and be skeptical, be adventurous, and Doom is a journey, especially today, and it's a very exciting one.
It is, and I want to say too, because I've done my fair share of giving my opinion on wads on my channel, and on Doom World I didn't even notice till recently, but I had written like a few hundred reviews on id games over the years, you know what I mean?
I gotta find those, that'll be fun.
So they're only small, they're only a few sentences. But yeah, like take our opinions as reviewers as like, do not let something that we say stop you from mapping or make you feel inadequate as a mapper, because that's not what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
And so, yeah, I'm saying that sort of for myself as well, because sometimes I play other maps and no one else is giving their opinion on them, and I just think, gosh, I'm out of my league. And it's like the mapper themselves didn't want me to think that. There's no reason for me to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, and then also, yeah, so that's good. So music in Doom's important, variety in Doom's important, and like you said, it's a journey.
And it is remarkable. I would love for there to be a thread on... I mean, actually, there is a thread on Doom World, the first 5 wads you ever downloaded. But it'd be really cool to make, like, per Doom World user, like a... everybody's got their own Doom genealogy, especially when it comes to P-wads. Like, they have their first couple of... wads they downloaded that kind of shape, to some extent, what they're expecting from every wad they download thereafter. Now, obviously, some wads can change their whole outlook and completely mutate their DNA. For me, that was Valiant, pun intended, because Valiant's a genetically deforming chemical.
Genetically different, baby.
Wow, that was totally unexpected, but I was winding my way over
Sorry.
to Valiant. And then I guess Lost Civilization did the same thing to me because now I'm on a search for the next grand non-linear intrepid adventure in Doom.
Uh-huh. That's good. I think that says it well. I think well, maybe we should end it here before we just go on forever. I think we've covered the topics good, and
Yep.
people who enjoy listening to you or I or both of us should hopefully have enjoyed this.
Yep.
Actually, I'm five frags from the end of the round. Let's
do it. Let's just keep fragging.
3, 2.
Oh, you dog. You got a couple while I was, like, idling.
I know you were talking. You were making
I'm catching up. 46.
Extremely salient points. Oh,
47. 48.
No!
Nope. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm alive. Oh!
Oh, wow.
Very
that
nice.
was so close.
GG. GG.
GG for the game and GG for the chat, MtPain. It was good talking to you.
Great talking to you, Doomkid. Until next time.
All right. Till next time, man. See you soon.
See you soon.